All right, folks, joining us now, Indiana Senator, we welcome Mr. Jim Banks, member of the Armed Services Committee. Senator Banks, welcome. You may have heard a little bit of Ari Fleischer in my discussion. After you know what you know, and so far there's a happy ending or a happy something going on in Davos, tell me what your thoughts are. How's Mr. Trump doing? No force, no tariffs, maybe a long-term deal. What do you make of it, Mr. Banks?
It's great news, and Larry, this is what we've come to expect. This is the greatest deal maker that we've ever known in the White House today. President Trump understands the art of the deal. He's brought Europe and NATO to the table, and at the end of the day, we're going to come up with a deal here that's going to put America's interests first, that's going to be good for Europe and really good for Greenland, and a lot of good progress here. I can't tell you how many liberals I've talked to who have been completely triggered by this, who refuse to understand that what President Trump is trying to do is push Russia and China out of Greenland. Let's use Greenland strategically for the Golden Dome. By the way, much of the Golden Dome is going to be built in Indiana, and it's going to be really good for America to keep us safe and secure for a long time to come. And President Trump is proving once again how you get a deal done. He's the first president of my lifetime who doesn't care what the stuck-up Europeans think about him now, and especially when he leaves office. You look at all the money that Obama makes giving speeches in Europe, thumbing his nose at America. President Trump doesn't care about that. He's going to make deals now and do things that put America's interest at the forefront for a long time to come. And I'm really proud of what he's accomplished already, and I'm excited about where this deal is going to go.
You know, it was the speech itself in its entirety. It was a tough love speech. He minced no words. I mean, the United States is pulling away from Europe and the rest of the world on the economy, on technology, on the military, in one area after another. And it's left for the United States to lead in ways that I don't think Europe can lead. I just don't think they have the wherewithal to lead. You know, you've got, you know, the head of NATO, Rutte, is a good guy, but the rest of them, you've got a lot of socialism, you've got a lot of jealousies going on there. I mean, again, I make this point, sir, and I don't claim to have every answer, but it just seems to me Trump can save Europe from itself. And he's the guy, ironically, he's the guy who will preserve NATO. I mean, I guess NATO should be preserved. Not everybody agrees with that point of view. I still have that view. But he's the guy that'll do it. Nobody else can do it. France can't do it. England can't do it. Canada can't do it. I mean, if he doesn't do it, NATO will probably die.
And the Secretary General is admitting that today. Thank God Donald Trump is in the White House, because he's forcing NATO to do things that they would not have done otherwise, to spend more on defense. You saw that Germany changed their constitution to go into debt to spend more on their own national defense. That never would have happened without Donald Trump, and that's good for Europe, and it's better for America. We can't be the blank check to the rest of the world when we have big, serious issues right here at home that we have to focus on. President Trump understands that. So Donald Trump is good for the rest of the world, but he's especially good for America and our long-term interest. And you get to see that on full display today. And by the way, Larry, thank God, think about where we were 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, with a president who was the laughingstock of the rest of the world. We have a president today who presents strong American leadership. We can't lead abroad when we're weak at home, but right now we have a strong leader who projects American strength, whether in Venezuela, Iran, toward Russia and China, or even the message that he sends to our allies and friends in NATO that they got to step up and do more.
You know, he made that point many times, or several times during the speech, Senator, and I think it's a really important point, and I'm glad you mentioned it. When I was a young man working for Reagan is when I first heard this. Strong at home, strong abroad. Weak at home, weak abroad. Economic security and growth at home gives you the leg up abroad. That's what brought the Soviet Union down. And I think, by the way, that was ultimately why we will triumph in one way or another over China and Russia, whatever that means. The mystery to me is why Europe remains socialist. That's the mystery to me. Trump is offering them a reimagination of capitalism, all right? Factories, build factories. You know, we're going to have a level playing field. We're going to cut taxes and deregulate, and we're going to use fossil fuels. They're still buying oil and gas from Russia, for heaven's sake, Senator Banks. Can you imagine that? 4 years into this war, Europe is still buying fossil fuels from Russia. It's unimaginable to me.
Yeah, President Trump has exposed the hypocrisy of Germany and these European countries who they want America to be tough on Putin and Russia, but they're not willing to do it themselves. I mean, Germany continues to buy oil. Their economy is built up, and their partnership with Russia. And President Trump is telling them we're not going to do the things that put America at risk that you're not willing to do yourself. And that's a tough message, but it's been delivered, and Europe is reacting to it. By the way, Larry, the national security strategy that this White House just put out under Secretary Hegseth and Elbridge Colby and other leaders at the Pentagon that makes it very clear to the rest of the world that we are going to put our hemisphere and our interests first. President Trump understands the Monroe Doctrine. He's going to emphasize it and implement it in new ways that it's never been, that certainly in our lifetime, that we haven't used it before, to put China, especially China, on notice. We care about what's going on in our hemisphere, and we're not going to let you get away with what you're used to getting away with under weak American leadership. So the rest of the world's been put on notice. Greenland this conversation fits right into that. There's a deal to be had here that's good for Greenland, good for America, good for Europe, and bad for China and Russia. And that's where President Trump is driving us.
All right, terrific stuff. Thank you, Senator Jim Banks of the great and triumphant football state of Indiana. Well done, sir.